Well, why are we here this evening? Because at KAS Uganda we love coffee. That's, of course, one reason. The second reason, it's a sector that is super important in Ugandan economy. It is, as we have heard, the biggest exporter of coffee in Africa.
So what better way to teach ourselves the art of coffee drinking than to hear it from a coffee expert? Do you know that Uganda is said to be, or not said to be, is the birthplace of Robusta? That's where Robusta was first discovered. How many of you know that? Right? So, for those who don't know, Robusta is Uganda is the birthplace of Robusta. And in Uganda, we have about 30% Arabica and 70% Robusta. And there are about 1.7 million smallholder farmers with 0.8 hectares of land. So it's a very important crop for Uganda. And one big thing that we don't often celebrate as Uganda is that the Robusta protocols were developed in this country in 2010.
We believe that for the economy to thrive, for the private sector to thrive, it takes good policies. And we are all about good policies. And let us give Michael now a big round of applause and learn from him what these policies could be about.
If really you have such an important sector on whose livelihoods people really depend, and yet it's not really attracting a lot of financing, the impact you've had is actually a situation of perpetual decline of productivity over the years. If business as usual really continues, you have a scenario where the coffee sector might actually be under threat. Of course, some people will argue, but we've seen an increase, a boost in exports. I will argue that the boost in exports has actually really been in large part because of increased tree population.
So these institutions, they're leveraging the technologies available to support us. We need a few more reforms, but out of such interactions, we can have them and be able to get these things running. So he talked about building structures. That is fundamental, and the structures must be innovative, creative, speaking to the young group. You guys, the problem we have, the people we have up there are not as agile as you are. So every time you raise an issue, they are like, okay, how can we have a meeting on that one? And they won't even understand it. Innovation Hub is not their language. You can see an SSF is still building towers in the middle of the CBD. Who is going to be in the CBD in the next 10 years? Nobody. We're going to be working from home and from the cars and from trees, from the beach. All you want is a deliverable.
So for me, I think it's really important that there is certainty that a farmer is given a fair price of that money. And for me, when you talk about finance as a magic bullet, put the market right. I have seen farmers producing. You remember Moringa? Nobody gave anybody, those farmers, any seedling. They just told them, Moringa afuna chiralu. They went ahead, got their seedlings, and they started growing Moringa because they said the market is there.
Very important to understand. When we say 80%, we are not saying the Ugandan farmers get a lot of money from their coffee, no, compared to the Kenyans, for instance, or the Tanzanians, or the Rwandans. But we are saying the system here, the market system that we have, is so fair that the farmer is able to get 80% of the FOB value of the coffee.
Our coffee is really something we should be boasting about. As we boast about Waraji and Rolex, right? Coffee should be up there as well. Would you not agree?